Grand afternoon. How you guys doing? I hope that you guys are being safe, are blessed, and preparing for your Shabbat if you do celebrate the Sabbath. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys about, well, we all know what's been going on the past couple of days in terms of Bill Cosby being released from prison, exonerated, if you will, of all of his charges for sexual assault. And Sha'Carri won't be able to run in the Olympics. She's suspended for 30 days because they found weed in her system. I'm going to take the opportunity, if you allow me to, I'm going to do it anyways, but I want to glean some lessons from both of these incidents, and I want to bring to attention some things that I don't think a lot of us are thinking about or even aware of. In the midst of us celebrating Cosby's release and excusing and justifying Sha'Carri's suspension, we fail to learn the lesson, which I think is it's a thing that we are guilty of in the black community. We just don't learn the lesson. We don't learn the lessons that we need to learn in these situations that we invariably deal with. Now, on the cover of both of these situations, they both appear to be racially motivated incidents that are pretty much held Cosby and Sha'Carri guilty, if you will, because they did some things that they were not supposed to do. So, suspension, jail time, what have you, okay? Let's break down the Bill Cosby thing, because it brings about a really nasty habit that we have in the black community, and that is to exonerate men in particular guilty of sexual crimes. We think in the black community that we don't think that a black man could commit a sexual crime. I'm convinced of that now. I was kind of getting hope, and I was like, okay, we're starting to hold our men accountable for their sexual deviancy and sexual crimes and molestation and incest and what have you. Because for a while, it just didn't seem like it was happening. It was just, okay, because they're black, they can't rape anyone. Because they're black, they can't molest a child. Because they're black, they can't be sexual predators. And I just don't understand that mentality that we have in this community. But it's not something that's new. Somewhere down the line, after slavery, I don't know, it probably was during slavery too, but in particular after slavery, we became so I don't want to say obsessed, but because of the oppression of the oppressors, if you will, we became so fixated with that, the slavery and the oppression and the aftermath of slavery and Jim Crow and racism and lynching, and it was very real. All those things were happening. Emmett Till did happen, okay? The guy getting burnt to a crisp after he was lynched, that happened. All those things happened. Jim Crow happened. But in the midst of all of that, we failed to recognize that while they were lynching some of our men outside of the community, inside of the community, some of our men were molesting children. Some of our men were raping their women and raping little girls. It was going on. It was going on. In the midst of Jim Crow, in the midst of the aftermath of the Emancipation Proclamation, it was going on. Okay? And nobody dealt with it. Why? Because we were just so consumed with the lynchings. We were so consumed with Jim Crow. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have been. All of it's an atrocity. Crimes against nature. Major injustice. But in the midst of that, we fail to deal with the perverts within our community. We have to admit there are perverts in our community. Every last one of us got a perverted uncle that slept with anything and everything. There's that one uncle, you couldn't go to their house. Expect to get raped. Expect to get molested. Expect to get fingered. But we didn't deal with that. Because we was like, the man. And we should have dealt with one and the other. As a matter of fact, we should have dealt with the first things first. The molester in the family, in the church. Before we even try to deal with civil rights. And in the midst of all the marches and the civil rights movement and everything, somebody forgot to deal with the victimization that goes on within our community. And a lot of people have these blinders on because it's been so long that the blinders have been on. They refuse to deal with the issue of sexual exploitation and sexual crimes within the black community. And then the ones that are perpetrating the crimes, sexual crimes, yeah, the man. They're the main ones that's pointing to the man, hoping to deflect attention from themselves while they're molesting your children, while they're pimping your girls out, turning out your young men. But then the main one's talking about the man. And please understand where I'm coming from. I'm not exonerating racism. I'm not exonerating all the ugliness that racism has brought upon us. The oppression, the murder, the sexual exploitation. But let's not forget about the stuff that's going on within. And because we've done it for so long, now that it's coming all out in the wash, and people are starting to be held accountable for their sexual crimes that they thought they got away with 30 years ago. Hello, Bill Cosby. We want to say, oh, it's racism. How you dealt with is racism. Now, we know that the justice system is not fair. We know that a black person is going to go to jail longer and more quicker for a crime than the same crime that a white person commits. Come on, we know this already. It's been like that. Why are we acting surprised? That does not exonerate, even though that's reality, systemic racism, imbalanced justice is a reality. But it does not exonerate us, our men, and some of our women from doing what's right. You don't commit crimes and then want to get away with it and then want to cry racism when you're caught. Excuse you? No. That's not racism. That's your foolishness. Because you know that the system is imbalanced. You know that the system and the scales of justice weigh against you. You know this already. And you still go out and do it anyway? No. It's not a trap if you know about it. It is not a trap if you already know it's there. You willingly walked into that. Bill Cosby knew what he was doing. Okay? And I guess he felt like, oh, I could do it because I could get away with it. They raped our women, so why not rape theirs? No! We're supposed to be the chosen people, meaning that we are supposed to know what's right and what's wrong. And you don't get to do wrong and then say, hey, I'm not going to get punished for this because we're the chosen people. And if you try to punish me for my crimes and my sin, I'm going to cry race. Wait, no, stop. Excuse me. No, it doesn't work like that. You do what's right because you do know the law of the Most High, Yah. You do, or you're supposed to, have his laws written on the tablets of your heart. And you know that's wrong. What kind of sexual gratification do you glean from somebody who's drugged up and drunk, asleep? Are you that desperate and perverted? Was Camille not satisfying him? So no, Bill Cosby don't get any points in my book. Because he still did what's wrong. He was married to a whole wife that supported him no matter what. And you felt the need to drug other women to have sex with them? No. You don't get a pass in my book. And instead of us gleaning the lesson from what's going on with Bill Cosby and what he's gone through, I mean, they put him in jail in his 80s. Now, some of y'all are going to still be like, what the woo? And no, I'm not going to stop. I can't look at the Cosby Show, okay? Because every time I see it, it's like, hypocrite. You don't mean none of that. And I know it's an acting job. He's playing a role. But this is the persona that this man preached and put himself out there all these years. Put himself up as the iconic role model for all black men. And he was talking down. Do y'all remember when Bill Cosby used to talk trash about black criminals? Now, I understand. A black criminal killed his son. So I get it. Okay? He's angry. But he didn't recognize that he was a criminal too? Am I making any sense here? So he got to spend the rest of his days with that on his head. R. Kelly. Nobody learned the lesson. Stop it. Stop committing crime and then not expecting to pay for crime just because you're black. If you know that the scales of justice are imbalanced towards you, you should not commit the crime. Period. That is not racism right there. That's your stupidity. And your arrogance and your pride. Because you thought that your money and fame and the approval of people was going to stop. And it didn't stop nothing. They showed you who was in charge. They showed you who was boss. Even him trying to buy a TV network didn't mean anything. It didn't mean nothing. The judge said, oh, because you're Bill Cosby, I'm not going to... We're going to deal with this in the quarters, in the judge's chambers. We're not going to have a court trial. No. They drug him through the mud. And he got treated just like any black boy on the street that got caught with a dime bag of weed. That ought to let you know, black man, you ain't getting away with nothing. I'm not saying it's right. It's not. But with that knowledge, though, you should walk circumspectly. You should know there are landmines set to blow you up and trap you and implode and explode. You know they're there. So why you going to walk out in that field if you know the landmines are out there? Is your appetite that strong that it takes over your wisdom? He had no sense of how is this going to affect my audience, all the people that I've influenced in my life. He didn't think about that. He just thought about, I'm going to get this. Makes no sense. Sha'Carri worked hard to get into the Olympics. She showed that she has what it takes. Everybody was questioning her, talking about the way she looked. They was even questioning her sexuality because there are just some men that are fixated with questioning the sexuality of a woman. Makes me think that maybe they do so because they've accidentally almost slept with a dude that was dressed up as a woman. And that's why they have all this, I wonder if that's a man or if that's a woman. Stop it. Stop it. She went through all of that scrutiny. She won the preliminaries. She was on her way to the Olympics. But because she couldn't cope with her pain, and because we have this thing in our society that says, hey, it's okay to smoke weed to help cope and deal with whatever. And she's going for the Olympics. You know the Olympics test you for everything. Everything. Steroids, hormones, drugs. Didn't they get the boy who was in the Olympics for the same thing years ago in the swimming trials? I forget his name. So no, that wasn't race. That was her poor choice. I'm not knocking her for it. She had just lost her mother. And what she should have done was say, I'm going to pray through this. If she was determined to compete, and then let the Most High give her the strength that she needed to do what she needed to do, or she needed to sit this one out if she was overtaken by grief. People who self-medicate their pain are trying to mask their pain instead of deal with their pain because they can't. They're not ready to. It's just a way, to postpone dealing with what's hurting you. And it's too painful. You don't want to deal with it. So what do? It's too much. I can't deal. And you go smoke a blunt. But there are rules in the Olympics. And you know there are rules. She knew there were rules. She said it herself. And now she's suspended. All that work down the drain. Because she thought, they're going to give me a chance because I'm a black girl. And I'm going to give them a sob story. Which is not a story. It really happened. But if they said, you can't have this in your system, you can't do this, you can't do that, to be a part of that, then she had to honor that. Nah, she just wanted to, do something else so she can go ahead and smoke her weed and go ahead and do that. But don't try out for the Olympics. Am I making sense? It's just two examples of black people that made some really poor choices and then expected, one person did not expect to get punished for his actions. He was expecting the black community to come to his rescue and to come to his defense. And I'm not really sure what the consensus is with Sha'Carri. All I can say is that she just made a really bad choice. And now she's wasted all of that effort. And her dream to be in the Olympics, now it has to be postponed, possibly postponed, for another 4 years or so. And hopefully she's not distracted with life. And then she can't come back to the Olympics for whatever reason. This is what weed does. Weed gets you in a place of procrastination when you should be dealing with something now, when you should be able to accomplish something now. It's postponed. It causes you to postpone everything. Am I lying? Look at your average weed smoker and tell me I'm lying. Now, she may have to wait to be in the next Olympics or try out for the next Olympics. She set forth some things in her life. Hopefully she will accomplish her goals, but she's going to have to overcome that whatever on her reputation or whatever, because you're supposed to be like clean and pure in the Olympics or whatever. Just another example. We can't be making really crazy choices, black people, and not expect to deal with the consequences of those actions. And I think that that is the expectation by and large on us. Now, yeah, again, I am not telling you that racism doesn't exist and that the consequences are much dire for us. Definitely they are. And definitely it's unjust, it's unfair, it's racist as heck. And I hate it. I do. And I don't like it. And I don't justify it. It's wrong. And the Most High will balance the scales. But just because that exists, just because racism exists, just because they set all these things in the system and in place to keep us in a state of punishment and oppression and under the curse, does not mean we walk into the curse. It's one thing to not know, but a lot of us do know what we're doing. I'm talking black people now. We know what we're doing wrong. Stop covering for Pookie and them when they do wrong. It never ends well. Never. Whether Pookie is $1 million actor or a little girl from Dallas just trying to be in the Olympics because she ran real fast. Hold them to the same standard that the word says we're supposed to. And especially my brothers. Y'all gotta stop treating women any old kind of way. And then when you treat women any kind of way, and the sister, you get caught up in the system, you want to say it's the sister fault. No. Treat her right. You cry. A lot of you brothers cry for a wife. Cry for this, cry for that. And you get her and you don't know how to treat her. You don't know how to love her. You don't know how to do right by her. You treat her like trash. Stop that. Because it is a trap. But it's a trap more brothers fall into than need to. And the only way to get away from that and get around that trap is to treat your woman right. Make up in your mind, I'm going to love this woman. If I marry her, if I have a child with her, or whatever, I'm going to do right by her. I'm going to be faithful to her. And it don't have nothing to do with how she act. If she's not committing a crime against you, you stick it out with her. Love her. You're supposed to be the stronger vessel. So suffer along with that woman. Pray for her. Love her. Be the Hamashiach. Be as the Hamashiach in her life. Not be a God to her, but you're supposed to be the example of the Hamashiach to your woman. You ain't supposed to be the accuser of the woman. You're not supposed to beat up on the woman. You're not supposed to oppress the woman. She's not your maid. She's not your baby maker. Huh? And she's not a side piece. One woman. One. Now, I've said a lot. I got to go. Hope you guys have a great Sabbath. Just think about some things I said, black people. We need to do better. Because, yeah, you're going to keep getting into the trap until you learn a lesson. And walk accordingly. It's not a trap if you know where the landmines are. So let's stop walking into the landmines. And walk circumspectly. Okay? Y'all have a blessed day.